Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the children of all ages, Steve with Sensus Fidelium coming at you. What is it? August the 10th, 2026, St. Lawrence Feast Day. Actually, it's the day that St. Philomena died too, but they couldn't put her on St. Lawrence, so her feast day is tomorrow if you're scoring at home. One of my favorites. She's right over there. I have a relic as well. One of my first. And what was I going to say? Also, it is 10:31 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Hope you're doing good whenever you are. Walter's already in the chat saying, please pray for Bourbon Cardinal Rosales, Archbishop Emeritus of Manila. Today is his birthday. So say an Ave Maria for him. And hey, how about this? Dude, there was a great post that someone put up. I think it was Bree put up about Father Hazakas and the Institute of Catholic Culture. Great channel, great website. They don't do much on their channel, but they're great. The website, they do a lot. And he mentioned a good idea, and I actually did it this weekend. Write your priests. And I wrote many priests just because I know have a couple emails and wish them a good day. I'll just say, hey, I hope you're doing well. Or have a great week. God love you. Things like that. I was like, that's a great idea. Most time, the only time they get emails is when they're getting yelled at, or if you don't like their sermon, or you don't like how they did X or whatever. It's always that you get 50,000 emails. You never get the emails saying, hey, I hope you're doing well. I love you. Thanks. Invite them over for dinner, things like that. Anyway, I thought Father Hazakas had a great post about that. And yeah, more people need to do that. That's why I started doing the newsletter with kind of like good news in it. It's like good news this week or something like that. So I try to find like 5, 6, 10 stories. If you go to sensusfidelium.com, you'll see the newsletters. You click on the newsletter, you'll see the last 3 weeks are like that. And I just try to find good stuff because everyone else and their brother is doing the bad news. This is going to have bad news on it. We do it with a smile, though, I guess. That makes it a little bit better. I'll have some fun humor with it. But yeah, it's everyone else is doing the bad stuff. I want to do a little good, sprinkle some joy in there. Hey, St. Lawrence got barbecued this day long ago, and he kept his joy. Why can't we? If you're getting roasted on an open say like Charlie Vincent roasted on an open fire. think what would Charlie do? Howdy was shut down halfway pouring our bridge deck just because it's alive. He always posts that. I don't know how real he is on that, but he's always good. So yeah, what if I start roasting Charlie on a gridiron? You think he'd be saying, hey, turn me over, I'm done on one side? Do you know anybody that would do that? Most of us would probably be mad. And if we had the chance to do a video about how mad we were, we would make a video about how mad we were, or at least post on X. Hold on, I need an iPhone so I can tweet out, I am getting barbecued and I hate these people right now. It probably would do something like that. None of us would probably go, hey, man, you got a fork and a knife? Get some barbecue right here. I got some good flesh right here for you. It's hanging off. Grab it. Anyways, Lou says she just watched the interview on the author of Catholic Confederates. Yeah, Gregson. I can't pronounce his name. I had an email. We were emailing each other a couple weeks ago. I sent him the Substack that I made for him, trying to help promote his book. And he's got some good stuff. He's got some fun stuff. You go to his YouTube channel, he's got all kinds of weird stuff. No, not weird stuff, but he gets into the Space Challenger. What's it called? Maple syrup, Canadian maple, something like that channel. Anyway, I think I linked to it in the show notes of it. I would not say what he did for sure. Yeah, Charlie would not say it. Come on, man. You're not going to say, hey, would you like it medium rare, well done? You overcooked me on this side. Anyway, so I was going with that idea. There's plenty of downside, plenty of people mad. And Father had a good point about just email your priest. Just write, hey, hope you're having a great day. I was thinking of you. I'm saying a Hail Mary for you right now. That's all. No strings attached. You don't need to respond. Just want to say hi. Because again, I bet that would make their day. By the way, I'm gonna do a podcast on something like this either tonight after we're done or tomorrow sometime about, maybe I'll do it tonight after we're done. Because in sales, you don't go up to somebody and yell at them to get them to like you or to get them to buy your product. So again, if we're going to try to, there was an article today about the traditional mass that I think LifeSite put out. They were going after the bishop. I think it was in Pittsburgh. That took away a TLM, and then obviously getting everyone fired up. And John Henry did another show and talked about the scandal of something is going on. I think I got the story, but I'm not playing the video. And I was like, hey, we're all fine. Let's get that scandal out, baby. We're going to help promote that scandal. We got to put the light on that scandal. Let everyone know about that scandal. How many of us, how many good news posts they ever post? Rare. How many good news posts did anybody these guys post? Stein, any of those guys. They put anything, hey, this is good. No, they're not going to go 30 minutes and talk about good stuff. It's not their stick. They gotta keep the bad news. They gotta maybe even create bad news. I don't know. It's got to be bad. Bad brings eyeballs. If it bleeds, it leads. They don't talk. You don't see the news have a kitten up there. Hey, a kitten got saved on the tree today. Oh, what else is next? I did not write 5 letters out to different priests. I did write. Charlie wrote. I did write 5 letters and got no response. But it's probably my fault. Hey, you never know. But no, I wrote one wrote back saying, hey, thank you. I hope you're doing well. Hope you and your family are doing well, and prayers for you. So, and he and I, we've gone at it, not hardcore, but especially during the Rona days. It wasn't pretty, but it was one of those. He was the first one I wrote. Say, hey, Father, I hope you're having a great day. Just thinking about you, saying Hail Mary for you. Yeah, it'll brighten their day up. Anyway, again, how do you get some bishops to like it? Not saying coward, not saying brown nose, not saying that, Judson principle. But if you treat them kindly, they're more apt to helping you out or listening to your thing. Not saying you have to go out in there and just get rid of all your principle and all that. But if I went into an orthopedic and blasted him, saying, "Hey, you guys suck at parking," or there was one orthopedic that was he was karate and drove a Harley. And if I get in there and just start talking smack about Harleys or how Harleys isn't good or karate's for wimps or something like that, you think he would let me keep it? Or the front desk, showing me the pictures of their kids and telling them they play baseball. Oh, I hate baseball. It's such a wimpy. The kid would be rather that. Oh, he didn't have a good game. That, you see what I'm going. You think they would say, "Hey, we'd like you to come back in." Some would invite me to eat with the pharmaceutical reps we're bringing in, so I would have free lunches off the pharmaceutical reps. They end up buying the product. Hey, we're going to go with you. We see you. We like you. We're going to do that. Maybe it's a change of attitude that a lot of us need to know. Maybe instead of hitting click and going, hey, that bishop sucks, or maybe we do the opposite. I don't know. It's not, that stuff's not working. What's the definition of insanity? Keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting the same results. Yeah, you guys keep thinking about keep clicking that record button and yelling and thinking, oh yeah, that'll do them. That'll show them, show the Vatican what's going on. It must be a mental disease to think that these guys think they're doing something good. Going, oh yeah, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna blast them and they're gonna switch ways. Cuckoo. Yeah, that doesn't work in anything. Yeah, imagine, call me if one of those guys see the video and going, you know what? He's right. We are a bunch of jacktards. No, they may be, but you got to be slick about it. Is it sly as serpents or something like that? No, we're not sly at all. Well, we just we see a nail, there's a hammer, nail it. Anyways, let's get right to it. This was a fun video. I'm going to have to click the mute button a couple of times. It's just a couple of word errors, nothing major.
Israel is our greatest ally. That's why we let them run our critical infrastructure. What could go wrong?
Michael! The Iranians hacked another water treatment facility. Wait, I thought outsourcing our critical infrastructure to Israel would lead to less cyber attacks, not more.
Remember, folks, letting Israel control America's critical infrastructure is national suicide, and I won't let it happen on my watch.
Actually, Superman, it already did. What did I tell you about Section 219 of the NDAA?
Yo, Mr. White, I got it. Israel embedded itself into our military 50 years.
I have to wait for it. I can't remember what part he says it. There's.
Did you hear Mary Silva is up 30% in the polls?
I don't like it, George. We don't want an outsider in any position of power snooping around our operation up there in Washington. Israel's entire defense strategy
It's just funny that Seinfeld's Jewish, by the way. I'm sure you probably already know that.
on it.
How are the Iranians getting these Israeli industrial controller chips?
America outsourced its most valuable technology, lithography machines, to Taiwan, Belgium, the Netherlands. That sounds like something I would do.
Maybe you can tell us why Microsoft and Intel are Israeli companies now, Billy boy.
We've been giving Israel all our high technology since the 70s. Come on, man.
Iranians hacking our water facilities. Does this have anything to do with Israel running our critical infrastructure?
Don't ask too many questions, Michael.
In other news, Israel is running America's critical infrastructure with industrial controller chips, the Pax Silica initiative, and 50 years of industrial espionage, and I, for one, am glad.
And over here, we're just going to paint some little guys that were high-fiving over here in the corner in New Jersey.
What is going on here? Why are we outsourcing our critical infrastructure to Israel?
It's anti-Semitic, even though the Israeli press has been screaming about this issue for the last 15 years.
And we continue to do this while Israel falls into the orbit of Russia and China. Make it make sense.
There are so many people noticing what Israel's doing, and our Kabbalistic voodoo name-calling isn't working anymore.
Hey, this is why AI is so good. Now it's going to get, that was some bad things, but hey, that's cool parts right there. Superman was off, but everything else was pretty fun. Anyways, obviously that was AI. They did the 12-year-old boy, Rachel Madcow, pretty well in that. I mean, Brandon was even better. That was spot on. All right. And some sad news going on. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit Colombia. Massive devastation. I saw it on the local news a little bit. I can't do it on the New York Slimes. There's a Colombia earthquake sparks civil war fears as groups threatens insurrection. Colombia earthquake sparks civil war threats as groups. Literally, the subtitle is the title. Far left group in Colombia is threatening insurrection after a huge earthquake on the country on Monday. Series of messages published on the website, the left-wing National Liberation Army (ELN) guerrilla group is urging the Colombian population to join a protest and insurrection against the current government led by Abelardo de la Espriella, the Conservative Party sworn in on Friday. Earthquake on Monday. He's known as the hardline approach to illegal armed groups operating in the country and previously said they must surrender or face being declared military targets. These groups, however, as reported by The Guardian, have gathered strength and resources in recent years. The ELN has about 6,300 members between armed fighters and unarmed support. The new president who received DJT support has also pledged to tackle the persistent violence in Colombia by breaking with previous President Gustavo Petro's policy of negotiating with armed groups, arguing that the peace process has failed. De la Espriella has said that this government will unite Colombia with the Shield of the Americas, a regional coalition to fight drug trafficking that emerged from the summit held by Trump in March. He also announced he will resume diplomatic relations with Israel and sever them with Cuba and Nicaragua, which he considers tyrannies. Custos Fide. If you don't have a Latin Mass within almost 2 hours, do you know what Father would recommend? Yeah, I mean, you don't have, if it's far off, well, let's go with this. All right, if it's because this, I brought this up to a bunch of the big named trad guys out there and say, hey, when gas gets up to exponential levels, or with the emission zero going down, 2030, 2050, all that. Absolute zero. Project absolute zero. What's the plan when they get rid of gas if you don't live next to a parish? And I've yet to hear crickets are louder than anybody that respond back to me. They have no clue. There's zero clue. Now, obviously, moving next to a parish like that would be optimal. Problem with that is housing market is so terrible. It's inflated. There's a bubble. It will burst. Eventually, one of these days is going to come crashing down. I can't wait. But right now it's so far inflated with a 6.6 interest rate to go with it that it's physically impossible unless you want to go in bankruptcy to buy anything. And most parishes that are TLMs are going to be inside bigger cities, which you don't want to be in anyways. And there might be some that are on the outskirts, but it's not going to be. I always think of Dayton, Holy Family, as an example of a place that would be Joseph Pieper's Restoration of Christian Society, Christian Culture. What's the people that wrote that? John Senior. I'm sorry, John Senior. Because it's an abandoned like Polish area, and you got this big, beautiful church in the middle of it. And it's pretty much abandoned all around it. Now, if people would come in, that would be great. Custos here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I mean, it's desert, the Raleigh diocese. So go back to that. So going too far, again, money in the tank. I would go with one. Is there any good? Like we're talking good Novus Orders around. I'm in Charlotte. There are a few. St. Michael's Gastonia is a pretty good one. Lincolnton, St. Dorothy's is a good one. St. Anne's is a good one. St. Thomas Aquinas. Father still goes to the altar rail. Unless something changed. I haven't heard. If he still does that. Our Lady of Grace is still good. Here, there's many. So you can still do that. Kind of like in a sense, take up your cross, suck it up in a sense. I get it. Or, they go to Mooresville. To be honest, I haven't been to Mooresville yet. I've gone to another option is going the Eastern Rites, Ukrainian Rite, in union with the church, obviously. The Ruthenians here are about 20 minutes away from me, 15, 20 minutes away. And they do liturgy in a classroom. And by the way, they're one of the most joyful people I've been around too. Fantastic group. The priest comes up and the priest he's so excited to see the kids and things like that. And they do a great job for being in a classroom. They're also very motivated to build their own church within a year. They've been in this thing for like 15 years and they're finally going, forget it. We're building a church and we're doing it now. So, where they're located, where they're wanting to do that is literally 10, 15 minutes away from where I'm at right now. Yeah. The church where they're at now is 25 minutes. They'll be about 10, 15. And I'm like, thought about telling my wife, shoot, if they do that, I'm fine with, finding a home there. Because it's going to be it's a neighborhood we know of that's really decent looking. And it's affordable even right now. I don't know much about it, but I do know the range wise. And so that's an option until something comes back. I'm also trying to work on ideas to help mitigate some ideas in Charleston. But your area, I mean, I would look at those two. I have no problem doing Easterns. I know there's guys on here going, I can't believe you're doing this book right here. Well, you see all the moringa. I got moringa leaves all over here right now. This is the book called The Forgotten. And it's about the Catholics in the Soviet Empire from Lenin to Stalin. A lot of these Eastern guys were doing Western stuff. They're saying rosary, wearing scapular. Our Lady of Lourdes, Our Lady of Fatima were big in their thing in their groups. Sometimes they would go to the Western Latin Mass, land rites. So they had no problem. You didn't see any of those guys go. Their late neighbors didn't go, I can't believe you're going to the Latin rite. No, they did it, and they were getting killed. And to read that, I put a Substack on it about this one priest. I think it was a Latin writer. Goes up and he sees all these men about to get shot down, just mowed down. And he came back home after he just got ordained. He came back home to say hi to his mom, and he stumbles upon these guys that are about to get mowed down. And while the soldiers turned because they weren't going to let him do it, he was going to give them a general blessing. Well, no, he did ask, can I give them absolution, a general absolution? They told him, yeah. They planned on killing him. He didn't know that. So he puts both arms up to give him absolution. Two guys from behind him slices his arms off and then stabs him in the middle of the chest. So I don't mind going, because I've heard a priest friend with the Ukrainian right. He's mentioned it before. He goes, he told his congregation, the Western guys are getting persecuted. Nothing like how we've been persecuted before. But we will open the doors for those guys because they opened the doors for our ancestors. So it's funny how it's back. Life circular. They help each other out. So think about that. You don't have to switch. I'm not saying you have to switch. Most of the guys I know that go to the Easterns, most of them are Latin writers. Quite a few big name guys go to those that write for TLMs. Father Nathan Adams out in Las Vegas told me he's like, I think 50% of people that go to his liturgy is Latin writers. So that's an option. So then after that, unless it's clown mass level, I mean, I don't know if I don't think you have that in Raleigh. I know there's, it's a desert. I get that, but there's options. That's why it's kind of like, and then people will say, oh, I can't believe you're doing that. You're doing the same thing with no, guess what? The Ukrainian guys are with the bishop. They have their diocese, the entire East Coast or whatever. There's 4 or 5 eparchies in the land. The Ruthenian, you're in Raleigh, Winston-Salem. The Ruthenian priest here lives in Raleigh. He'll drive down from Raleigh. So he'll say mass and he'll drive back up to Raleigh, or it says liturgy and then goes back up to Raleigh and does liturgy. So he's in Raleigh area. I don't know how far that would be for you. So if you see a Ruthenian, if I can find his name, find out father's name, you could probably go there. And he's the only times his sermons are he's jumbled up because he's foreign and I don't know where from. But anyway, those are ideas. Now 2 hours is Raleigh. Okay, so you're you're 2 hours from everything. It seems like. Man, I mean, you could go and just if there's a good NO around, do that, and then make Sunday a good Sunday, and then Christ says no new Lego. You could go to a good NO, and then I don't know, turn on the ICKSP when they do the high mass because their solemn is comes on around about 8-9 o'clock in the morning our time. Yeah, make a Sunday out of it. Just go be present, keep your mind right, be an example to others. When I was going to NO all the time because there was nothing nearby, daily mass, I would make sure I would kneel and then come back down the middle, and then people started asking why you do that, and then that made other men start doing it. So there was by the end of the summer 30 guys starting to kneel. They used not to be. And then they asked me why I was going down the middle, and that really messed them up when I said, yeah, you see the communion hand over there, I ain't going to step on God, so I'm walking down the middle. And then that set seeds out. And then all you got to do is get somebody that can influence, that has money. Money talks. So if you get somebody on board that likes the same idea, has money, and can influence father to maybe do XYZ, now you're cooking with chicken grease. Best I can do on that one, because I would be the same way if I was 2 hours away. I'll look it up. Well, I'll put it on something. I'll see if I can find something in Winston-Salem for you too. How about that? How about email me, steve@sensofidelium.com, and I'll see what I can find, and email you, see if I can find any ideas that are nearer, closer, things like that. I'm trying to come up with something for you, Kustos, but yeah, do that. Email me and we'll see if we can figure out some ideas. It's better in that way. Anyway, yeah, Marky Mark's back. Let's see, where am I at here? And no problem. Don't feel like you don't pilot. Do not type. I'm sorry for As gotta quit. No big deal. You don't have to send a super chat for me. You don't have to do anything. You just ask a question. Fine with it. No big deal. If Mark gets upset, we can go to Iowa and whip his butt or something like that later. Just kidding, Mark. Brock Frumpton, he's 2.5 hours away. I get it. Yeah. It's a great time. I look at it as this. I'm weird. I know. Jocko, good. It's gone, good. This is happening, good. Because we look at it going, you can look at it two ways. If you played ball, you've been through adversity. You know how to handle adversity. If you didn't play ball, you probably don't know how to handle it. People don't know how to handle it. So some of them get upset, go cry in a corner, things like that. So we can look at it, get your mind right. You know, Coach would always say, get your mind straight, get your mind right. So if our mind's right on, all right, we're going to offer this up, suck it up, offer every communion up for the bishop, work for the conversion of the bishop, or in the sense of not saying he's not Catholic, but to bring in the mass, bring in the old mass, work for, pray, as Father Mateo says, the price has to be paid. We have to pay a price for us to do it. We just can't just hey, like Megan Rapinoe, I deserve this. We don't deserve any of it. It's kind of like Father Abernathy did a podcast once. He said this is kind of like people we're getting water. The Atlanta writers are getting water thrown on their face. He was talking about Francis at the time. Marky Mark, thank you for that. And there any hope for my hair growing back? Not a chance. I mean, it probably could if I let it go, but I don't know how thin it is back in these, but there's stuff there, but I'm not going to do the rosemary hat or anything like that, the laser hats. So yeah, look at it as and suck it up. Now somebody's going to say, you hypocrite, you're not. I go to a foreign one sometimes. I thought about the middle aisle thing. Oh yeah, dude, the middle aisle one. I do that now still. If I go, because even at St. Michael's, there'll be people do communion. Even at the rail, people would still do just a few. If I just saw one person, I'm like, not happening. And usually they're outliers. They're old and dying that they're going to put that out their hands. And if I see it, I wait to go to be last because I'm in case anybody gets upset, say, oh, you're messing up the whole thing. Well, no, the pews are in the way. I'm not doing it. Brock is asking, explain the middle aisle. Okay. Communion. Go up the aisle, kneel. Even at the rail, I would do this. I didn't know it was because even no matter where I was in the rail, if I was at an NO, would kneel and then go back down the middle aisle. Because what does everyone do if they get communion in hand? They go to the right or left down the sides, right? So the idea is if there's any particles on the hand and it falls, it could be down the sides. So unless you're the first one, and and not to say it's horrible, but they already vacuum up everything. If you're the first one, then I used to leap. I've seen people see me kind of like a hurdle before just to get away, knowing where people are walking. I'm weird, I know. So kneel, go up, kneel, do an about face 180 and go right back down where you came from. And if anybody asks, you can tell them. I saw people communion in hand. The particles fall off. I ain't stepping on him. I just received them. I'm not stepping on him. You're not going to see them. I argue with it. That might click at heart. Whoa, what? Yes, because every time I remember one guy, Mario, he asked me about that once. I remember that like it was yesterday. He said, what? He's like, what? And I told him about it. He goes, I'm never asking you another thing in my life. Scared the what out of him. Because now he didn't do it in the hand, but he would walk over and didn't think anything of it. He goes, I'm terrified. I'm never asking you again. He was joking in a sense, but yep, I would just go down. And I would, like I said, make sure I'm last. I would wait till everybody goes up. And then I would go right back down so nobody can say you're, blocking anybody or things like that. I only had to tell one guy, one It was just recently too. That was about a month ago. He wanted me to go. He wanted me to go around him, and I said, no, I'm going right back down. And then he explained what he was doing. I said, oh, okay, I'll go around you to go back around. As an usher, I've seen it all. Yeah, no, I did ushering at Mount Carmel in Littleton, Colorado, for a couple of years. I liked it because I get to tell the guys, or thought they were big. The guys at the end of the aisle, we were like, they're waiting for the insurrection to come in so they can be the first ones. Like, hey, move over, Buttercup, slide over, scooch. There's a family coming in. Or they get out and go, no. You see this family of 7 that's coming in. She's going to have to get up with her kid about 5 or 6 times. You just scoot over because you're going to be upset after the 8th time of her getting up and down. Just scooch. Let the family out in the end. I'd pack it in. I was packing people in like sardines in the pews. Scoot over. And I had no problem making them move. Hey, you move. They had me on detail one time. There was a guy, he was Arab looking, and the main guy, he comes up to me and goes, we want you on him. So you guys think he's going to do something? He ain't doing anything. Fine. I'll stand right next to the guy. And he thought he was like a jihadist. He was a convert. Anyways, I've seen one spill and people were walking. Oh, dude, wow. That's amazing. Horrifically amazing. I can't. Where do we go from there on that one? Thanks, Mark. Killjoy in here. Good night. I can't believe that one. I believe you, but I can't believe it. Anyway, that's a good way to evangelize and to know his order, guys, because people will eventually, especially if they know you, they'll ask you what's going on, and maybe you'll start making a change in your parish. There's always something to do. Suppressed news. At the time of the earthquake, they decided to make a statement for Israel instead of addressing their own people. Colombia suffered a 7.0 magnitude earthquake, but their government decided it's time to recognize Golan as part of Israel. Here's the link. Attention, Colombia recognizes Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights 10 hours ago. Before the persistent instability in the regional stability. Man. After decades, Israel has entered unphenomenal. Reverend Liturgy website. Check it out. I'll take a look at it. By the way, a little historical tidbit on Colombia. Remember the whole Panama incident? You probably heard me a million times, but if you're new to the channel, Panama was forcibly seceded from Colombia thanks to Teddy Roosevelt, who hated Jefferson Davis because Jefferson Davis was the first president of the Confederacy who seceded from the Union. And Teddy didn't like that. He thought it was illegal, but it's okay if he does it. He got his own people in Panama, forced secession. And then decades later, the U.S. federal government sent reparation money to Colombia with a sorry card on it. Literally, the true story. The army was very clear on protocol of anything. Really odd in a way, but one of the progressive type priest in Laramie was very clear on protocol if anything ever happened. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that happened yesterday. Colombia got hit with a massive earthquake earlier today. Wasn't it earlier today? All right, here's a wedding at McDonald. All right, I'm going to have to turn off the music because that will get flagged for it. This is literally McDonald's wedding going on. It was on TikTok. Some of the things I stumble upon for you people. I saw this going, I have to put this in. So that the wedding party's over there. There's the grooms right there. There's the best man. See if I can just forward this. Because you probably don't believe it. And it's the guy's. How was your wedding? Well, I got a Sprite when I was walking up. Oh, Charlie, I was in Cincinnati I can't remember what the name of the parish, but the tabernacle was on the back. No kidding. It was directly behind everybody. So the whole way I'm going up, going, what do I do here? And so I got to the pew and I did a 180, genuflected to the back, and then sat and then knelt down. And I had people coming up to me afterwards going, that was a fantastic. I'd never been, first time I ever been there. I was just on a trip. And people were coming up going, that was awesome. The place was packed when I did that. Like Aaron doesn't let me. Yeah, everyone gets a Big Mac. They're probably having a Big Mac added. At least they could change the menu.
We are gathered here today to witness the union of George and Jamie. Welcome, friends and family. We're glad to have you here with us. Today is the beginning of a remarkable journey for this.
Here's the scandal thing that I told you about, that John Henry's Sign of the Cross show or channel, life site, whatever it is. Pope Leo appoints pro-female ordination and pro-LGBTQRS consular to the Vatican's religious life dicastery. Appointees include Sister Patricia Murray, who has pushed women's priesthood. It's not going to happen. And address the pain and woundedness of LGBTQRS people. Okay, great. She's also, I guess, 90 years old. She'll be dead in probably about 5 to 10 years max. It sucks. It's a bad appointee. I don't know what brought him up to it. But if it weren't for the internet, I would never know that this was a combo deal. That they supersized the ring. I would never known this happened if it weren't for the internet. And you know what? It doesn't affect me one bit. I don't know who's going to affect. I mean, okay, great. But it gets the Sedevacantist all riled up. Like I said, I didn't say it's a great pick. They didn't say anything about it, and they say, "Hey, yay, woohoo!" Does it affect me one bit? Does it affect, in this household that I'm in? Does it? No, not one single bit. Shouldn't affect anybody once. It shouldn't even. All right, great. Stupid. You can say, hey, it's a stupid pick. I don't know what. Maybe he owes her $10 or something like that. He had to throw her in, or doesn't affect you one bit. But we'll get mad about it. It should get everyone riled up, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm gonna get mad. What are you gonna do about it? I'm just gonna get mad. I'll tweet harder. And that's the thing. I mean, great. You can. By the way, remember the whole Cueto thing, the immigrant, the PSYOP from a couple weeks ago. I told a guy, in 2 weeks, no one's going to even know that thing's going on. No one's going to remember it. 2 weeks later, anybody talking about Cueto? Nope. Seeing this?
This is a conspiracy.
Coca-Cola. I'm going to need an explanation for this.
All right, we're going to do this one live because I don't want to see any comments that, this is a conspiracy theory, blah, blah. You can see we're on the Coca-Cola website URL right there. We're going to scroll down to personalize our Coke can. The first entry we're going to try is Allah is King. No issues with that. You can see it on the Coke can. Next entry we're going to try. No issues with that. Let's even try Satan is King. 0 issues with Satan. Now let's try Jesus is King. Now that's where there's issues. So you can still see the Satan on the Coke can here. Immediately rejects Jesus is King. Gonna need an explanation on this one.
There was a longer form of it that he gets into. Let me see if I find that. I know I have that. Because I'm sorry, I thought it was a little bit, they would have a little bit longer one, and it didn't do the long version. I have it in my history. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Here we go.
short phrase onto a personalized can, with some phrases being allowed and others not.
I wish this was fake, but unfortunately it's not. And we're going to do this live because I don't want to see any comments that, this is a conspiracy theory, blah, blah, or whatever else the bots come up with.
I do see you guys on Instagram. Lindsay, I see you. I'm sorry I didn't. I'm just seeing I just looked over the comments. Lindsay's family of 7. And yeah, you saw the Coke thing? Yeah.
These days, you can see we're on the Coca-Cola website. You can see the URL right there at the top. This is a live screen mirroring of this laptop right here. We're going to go ahead and customize our Coke can. The first entry we're going to try is the devil is king. Now let's try Jesus is king. Suddenly, we get an error. You can see here they say, we worked hard to get this right. Now let's try Satan is good. No problems with Satan is good. You can see it populate on the Coke can right here. But it gets better. Let's try Jesus is good. Again, we get that error. But what if we were to put Jesus is bad? Suddenly it takes our entry. And you can even put Jesus is evil. And you can see it populate on the Coke can right there. Wow.
Wow. What is going on here? Does Coca-Cola hate Jesus? I know a lot of people are saying that, but I don't think that is what's going on here. You see, Coca-Cola is a multinational corporation, and they are incentivized to be as inclusive as possible because the more inclusive they are, the broader the brand appeal and the more money they make. But I will tell you, as a former management consultant myself, working for many Fortune 500 companies, the dirty little secret is that the companies themselves don't define what their corporate or cultural values should be. They actually let outside consultants and civil rights organizations tell them what it means to be diverse or inclusive. And the most prominent civil rights group that corporations turn to in situations like this is the
ADL. Drink if you have a Coke. Wajaru says federal judges have no. What happened? A judge rules 2 Virginia schools must change their Confederate names. Virginia. I think one is Robert E. Lee and Turner Ashby cannot be divorced from racial discrimination. The judge wrote in his ruling. Stonewall, the schools to rename. Schools board decision rename after Stonewall Jackson, Robert Lee, and Turner Ashby. So Stonewall, Robert E. Lee, and Turner. As she says, federal judges have no power to tell school boards what names are acceptable for their schools or not. 100% right. The 14th Amendment wasn't about giving feds power to ban names. 1,000% right. This is blatant usurpation of power. The only reasons Republicans accept it is because they care nothing for the South. 100,000% correct. They do not care. The party of Lincoln is not conservative. Here's your party. Here's your 2 parties. You got the left, the fake right, Democrat, Republican. Neither is conservative. You're a quote unquote conservative. You have no party. Similar to X Twitter, censoring Jesus, very word. Yeah, no, exactly. Here's the link for. Oh no, I had the link for it. I thought I had the link for the link. This must be it. Legal actions brewing over plans to change the name of Homeschooling Dia. Oh, that's in France. Okay, so they're changing. Even France is doing that. Polymart, Massachusetts becomes the 10th state to allow abortion at any point in pregnancy. Now, someone made a film. There's horrible news. This is when federalism works against things like that, things against what we want. My thing is, where's the Catholics in Massachusetts? Get off your keisters, get in the game. Massachusetts should not have this happen because Catholics run. Where's the bishops in Massachusetts? Are they out there? Let me know in the chat if you heard any of the bishops say, and I'll put it up on the thing now. Just to let me know. I haven't heard. I've been looking. It took me an hour and a half to find all this stuff. I haven't seen anything. Now I could have missed it. I haven't seen anything. So if you guys know anything, let me know. Brockton, that's great. I'm Yankee by birth, but Dixie file by choice. Yeah. So you're a copperhead by birth. How about we'll do that? You know Yankee then. You're a copperhead. But yeah, Massachusetts, where's the bishops at? Now it's too late for the bishops to say anything. Now will they say anything after? Should have been all over it right now. Again, St. Lawrence got martyred. St. John the Baptist got his head removed, but we are terrified to say anything. Now it's not too late overall. The good thing about bad bills like this is lots of Catholics are very liberal. My parents live in Massachusetts. No, you're right. It is very off the charts thing up there. Still, where's the bishop be a bishop? That's kind of like your job detail here. That's why you got the color red. Now, if there are good Catholics up there, you know what? One of the leading groups to get the church, get churches back open down in Carolina was the Protestants. They led the charge. Well, okay, we'll say the Protty gets involved. Good, let's say man of virtue starts running for office of Massachusetts. You can flip this around next election, becoming a governor or getting the state general assembly together. You take those back over there, you can kill that, no pun intended, you kill the bill immediately. So that's a good thing about federal, because then the federal government part, when they do something crazy, it takes forever. It doesn't leave the books mostly. But at the state level, you can fix bad stuff. You just got to get good people in. Most good people don't think about it because they're indoctrinated with Fox, and they tell you to worry about the general election all the time. They all talk about the state. They don't talk about the school boards. They don't talk about the state election or your local elections, your mayors, things like that. We start getting Catholics at every lower level, mayor, school board, general assembly, state houses. You talk about fixing some change. You could have some crazy good change if we got our heads out of your keisters and got involved that level. My hometown is not a gay one, just the opposite. They have P-Town as gay vacation destination with an active Catholic church. They have P-Town. And P-Town, what is... Talk to me like I'm two. I don't know what P-Town is. But I believe it. So it is. Well, that was where isn't that where? Wasn't it the one movie when all the stuff went down? Wasn't it in Boston that what the main stuff was? Yeah, Penn State's fans. I mean, Gatorade. Remember all those times when we got the JVD jab. Talking about Providence. Oh, Provincetown. Okay, yeah. Okay, Provincetown. Yeah, I don't know, Pete. If I said like. Would somebody say G Vegas? There people say like that about Greenville, South Carolina. Yeah, sorry. Cape Cod is I bet Cape Cod is very bad. My hometown just won the Junior Legion State Tourney in Minnesota. Hey, congratulations. This is good news. Good news day. Here is Governor Maura Healey signs a bill for abortion. As Democrats, I don't know if they're all Democrats, but their feminist nut jobs are celebrating. Thank you. Yeah, if I'm correct, isn't she a baptized Catholic too? I think she is. I was talking to Mike Church about this a week ago or two. I think it was last Monday. I think he and I talked about it. Let me see real quick. Yep. Here's the governor just signed that bill into law. As a Catholic, I believe our responsibility to care for others, especially those who are most vulnerable among us, except if you're a baby. That obligation must be at the center of response to climate change as well. Wait. How do you say most vulnerable when we're talking about climate change? You're talking about baby doves? It was a tremendous honor to meet His Holiness Pope Francis last week at the Vatican Climate Council Summit. Deeply grateful for his climate, blah, 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 blah. So she's baptized Catholic. The bishop should call her out immediately and drop the hammer on her. Sign that bill. Maybe everyone should send the bishop a letter. Send her. Hey, she's a Catholic. She just put abortion up there. Come on. Heads got some heads rolling. You could tweet harder. Tweeting harder is an idea. They're tweet, and more tweeting harder. Tweet so hard that you've never tweeted before that you get calluses on the end of your fingernails. Very Catholic with Irish. Oh yeah. No. Yeah, it was very Catholic. The Irish immigrants. And then you got Providence, the whole area. I mean, shoot, the whole Northeast now. It wasn't back in the 1700s, but yeah, after Irish immigrants came over, sure, yeah, big time. Cincinnati, same way. Pittsburgh, same way. I guess Philly would be the same way because the immigrants came from all over and just went west or across there. All right, Gen X girl. Folks are freaking out about the MMR shot getting split up. Do you know why the MMR was combined? For convenience, so parents wouldn't have to go to the doctor 3 separate times. Measles, mumps, and rubella. I know. I researched when I was pregnant. I asked doctors. Alternative vaccine schedules have been available for decades. So if you want to give them separately, you can. This just makes it more permanent. I had my kid on the alternative schedule when she got vaccines separately. She got all her shots, but on separate visits. The inconvenience was worth it to me to know that she was not exposed to the small chance of adverse effects. You know what the better chance of not having any adverse effects? You don't get them at all. Stop freaking out about everything, she says. I usually like her stuff, but I'm surprised she even took any. I was vaxxed too. I'm like, we're done. Not happening ever again. I got 2 purebreds. Says a small risk of febrile seizures, an extremely rare case of serious allergic reactions, but that getting the MMR is safe and effective. It's much safer than getting measles, mumps, and rubella. You know what they did? You've seen the videos of was it measles with the Brady Bunch? And they're mocking it. They say, yeah, just go back to school. Why are you here? Go back. It's not a big deal. But because what happened is Trump issued an executive order, which should be illegal. He's not in a legislature. He is an executive. His role is to say a bill is constitutional or not constitutional, not to create his own. Wow, we're only about 10 links in, and we're in an hour. Great googly moogly. Trump's order will split up the MMR vaccine. So there, people are going, yay, cheering on you. Yeah, MAGA, Maha, baby, Maha. You're still getting the poison. I've heard something interesting. I've been kind of uber low gays, trans. They don't shit on skins. Yeah. There's a lot that, like, I mean, I know one of my neighbors is like that. She had cackles sign out in front. I get it. She thought she was going to get me upset by talking about. She came over to give us some jam, and we'd start talking about things, and we get into the faith. And it's funny that her and other people think the one down the street is so bad because the singing will make your ears bleed. It's kind of comical. Anyways, she brings up we're traditional, and thought she was going to get me on the misogynist things. I go, well, shoot, that was some great. She's, you guys don't boost up women. I go, you ever heard of Mary? Come on. And then I started mentioning like Veronica and Philomena and Queen Isabella, and just saintly queens, Queen Elizabeth. And I was just going down the list. And I'm going, hey, you talking about Saint Anne? No, who says that? Mary. It was right around Mary. Was it Mary Magdalene's around her feast day? Yeah, it was. And and then I started talking about Mary, how Magdalene, and how I started reading about her, and it was in Fotina, and how she was called it was during Fotina's feast day, and how she was the woman at the well, and she was called the greatest evangelist ever in the Bible. I think I was like, well, she said, I thought you guys hated women. No. You guys were told that. It's amazing how people I work with, 100%. I can't imagine. I'd be very upset about that. Pornhub plots return to North Kakalaki browsers. Pornhub is hoping to return for North Carolina's web browsers and search histories by challenging the state's age verification rules for porn sites. Candlesticks, yo to you. It's been nearly 3 years since residents could directly access one of the biggest names on online pornography. Last week, Pornhub sent a letter to more than 300 elected officials across multiple states, including Carolina Josh Stein, scumbag, carpetbagger scumbag, and more than a dozen Republican state lawmakers, asking them to rethink or rescind laws that require adult website visitors to verify their age. The laws that exist now in roughly half of all states demonstrably do not work, putting adult personal data at risk and failing to shield the minors they were written to protect, they wrote. Yes, but there's little indication that North Carolina leaders have an appetite to revisit the topic. There's little indication. Stein spokesperson told Axios the governor has worked hard to protect kids from bad actors, and I've seen information on the internet. He used to be not the state attorney. It wasn't the state AG. Was he a state AG? He was a prosecutor. So he's and this stuff like this. He's pretty good on stuff like this. He's big. There's some bad stuff of him. This is some of the good stuff. Like, again, goes to Bellamy. Not everyone's 100% bad. Don't like the guy, but stuff like this, he's been all hardcore on. Trafficking and things like that. He's really all about it. I'll give him some, props on that. I wish I would do something like that. Yeah. Well, hit your congressman up. Bust them up. See, there's some Catholic guys on there and say, hey, do work on something like that. Any state can do this. One of the most beautiful places to live. Big vote creates Oakland County's first new community in decades. We had a fan of the program send me this. I can't take any credit on this one. I was sent this one by one of y'all.
Detroit, I'm Megan Lee. A small corner of Oakland County is making history as voters turn a dream of local control into a community of their own. It's now known as Cass Lake Village. The landmark vote puts this town on the map, creating Oakland County's first new municipality in decades. Tonight, 7 News Detroit reporter Brett Cast spoke with the village's newly elected leaders about the work ahead and the future they're now free to shape.
Welcome to Cass Lake Village, a community that's less than a third of a square mile, has 15 bridges and 5 miles of canals, along with just a few hundred people. In some ways, it feels like its own little community, and now it officially is.
Do you tell people
think locally, act locally, small is beautiful.
West Bloomfield, or are you going to say Cass Lake Village? I mean, where are you?
Cass Lake Village. Yeah, absolutely.
After decades living in West Bloomfield Township, these men now have a new hometown, one they created after legally turning their community HOA into its own village.
These infrastructures are failing, yet there's no solution for it. This is a solution.
The problem lies in the creation of their neighborhood more than 100 years ago. Homes line miles of canals along Cass Lake, requiring 15 bridges, their own roads, and their own community water system that their HOA, not the township, was responsible to maintain.
So I'm sure that seemed like a good idea at the time, but 108 years later, we now have accumulated a $25 million infrastructure deficit.
An average MDOT bridge lasts 80 years, and this one has surpassed 100.
These small bridges are expensive, and issues came to a head recently.
This bridge, we were going to have to close to vehicular traffic because it was rated so low, and even though we posted it lower, there's still the fear that a fire truck would go over this bridge would collapse and end up in the canal.
The residents went in search of funding and found infrastructure grants perfect for the job. But the state can only give those grants to municipalities, not an HOA. So then came the question, why not turn the HOA into a village?
I mean, I was not for it for a couple of years, really, until we exhausted every other.
Well, there are some that aren't, commie nut jobs. HOA can be a good thing. I'll get to it. They start out for good reasons. The thing about it is, if you're on your HOA, if you got some bright people that aren't stupid on there, that aren't a bunch of moron commies, it can work. You don't have to, I'm more of a live and let live in a sense. You want to live in your house and do whatever in your property, you can do whatever you want. These guys, they turn their HOA into exactly what an HOA is. It is a government in a sense. It's not, your HOA is a local government. So they're just taking the next step.
Option.
Residents would have to pay both village taxes and taxes to West Bloomfield Township for fire and police services. But there's no longer HOA dues and a massive looming special assessment.
This hopefully will help us in getting maybe some infrastructure grants and things like that.
And on Tuesday at the ballot box, residents approved a charter for Cass Lake Village with over 80% in support. These men were also elected to the new village council, and despite the ongoing maintenance and years of work, there's nowhere else they'd rather call home.
You would think, Brent, people would go running from this place, right? But it's probably one of the most beautiful places to live, and that's why people still live here.
In West Bloomfield, in Cass Lake Village, I'm Brett Cast, 7 News, Detroit.
So now the HOA is gone. That's the city council. Perfect. Panel hashtag, you're doing it right. Could you fall in love with an AI chatbot? Mark, turn your head away. No taking notes. What factors predict the intensity of AI human romantic relationships? Human AI relationships are no longer science fiction. A recent study did not find the loneliness was associated with the intensity. Romantic fantasy was associated with the intensity of human AI relationships. Well, because you create something that just tells you when to hear it all the time. Mike retweeted this one out. This is strategically being admitted now. Your task is to ask why. Why do they want you upset about this today? Exactly. This is all over the rage right now. The mandated and documented Rona 19 shot for pregnant women was effectively an abortion shot, according to new documents just released by Senators Johnson and Paul. If you look back in the early 2021s, Clown Planet shows that I did, we talked about this. Everyone in alt media knew about this. They're just now saying this 5 years. People were getting kicked off YouTube and other places for saying this. Now it's approved to be told. Why?
Publicly about the vaccine in pregnant women.
I'm really glad that his words now can be heard by the American people. And I share your
This bozo was doing it too. He was pushing it.
And I think that when you have a new product like the COVID vaccine was back then, you should be careful with pregnant women. And it's shocking to me that he was sharing private thoughts, and that when he was out on public, and he was out in public a lot, he didn't share those private thoughts with the
Yes, most of these videos, it's the first time I'm hearing it.
American public. To me, the big problem now is really how do you restore trust in public health? How do you restore trust in science? And that's what I've been working toward at the NIH, to really shift toward a transparent regime where there's scientific debate, scientific discussion, no debates off limits. I fully expect there to be people that disagree with me. And when I learn that I'm wrong, I'm going to tell the American public.
Oh, you lying.
We have to turn the page from that.
And you have the job that he once had. That puts pregnant women in a really bad position. You're withholding information from them, giving them a recommendation that could potentially harm their baby. I don't know the process when you're the director of something like the NIH, but
I know the process. Nuremberg 2.0.
If you have reservations, shouldn't the public know those reservations?
Especially for something like the COVID shots, which were brand new back then. And Tony Fauci was a major figure in trying to get those COVID shots off, past the finish line. He owed the American public some transparency regarding his honest thoughts. Generally, it's the FDA that regulates products and checks for side effects and so on. The NIH develops the science that produces the new vaccines. There's usually like a one lane and another lane. Tony Fauci, in some sense, was out of his lane, push and then use that power to tell American one thing when he really thought another.
Just so you guys know I'm not nuts, I had to pull it up. This is from Last American Vagabond. Last American Vagabond. Professor resigns from Israel's COVID vaccine committee over the decision to vaccinate pregnant women. March 19th, 2021. All I did was type in Rona vaccine pregnant. The scientist warns Omicron synthetic over here from 2023. 2023 again. Older posts. I know he's got more, just I didn't type in the right keywords, or I need to type it in and click the links. And it might be the topic in here. 2023. There was a time when he was going over this almost daily. 2023, amid scientific community wrong on Rona despite regain it. It's not the jab per se, but the first one, 2021. 2023, your annual Rona, everything else. Might get you arrested. 2022. Let's type, let me see. Type in that. 2022, we'll see that. See if I can find any in here. I kind of remember the show. Chris on doctor standing up. It's not safe. Booster vaccine adverse effects 2019. Serious harm. Vaccines have been reviewed. Immune suppression. Hit time refan. Please stop. Jab has zero benefit. Now have rare forms. I'll put that on. I'll let it put up next one. Counter disinformation. I'm looking for a specific on there. I know there's on there. It's going to be hard to find going through all of it. Because one time there was actually graphs and articles on it. Darn it. I don't know how it's fun. Yeah, but here's 2022. Zero benefit, now clear result, rare serious effects. The NHS is overloaded enough. We don't want any more admissions, blah, 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 blah. Devastating from 2022. There's from Canada, report. That was for Australia's morbidity. Yeah, I know. I'll look see if I can find some more. But yes, they've been talking about it since 2021, 2022. Maybe Gronkett. I'll see if I can find it. I know there's stats on it.
And by the way, the president talked about shared sacrifice. Okay, the only shared sacrifice that's going on right now.
As Bill Ackman is crying now about Fauci when he was one of the main people who convinced Trump to do the following during the Rona. Shut down America. Government will give you money and cause $4 trillion in debt and get jabbed.
Is the healthcare community, okay? The nurses, the doctors, the people taking care of patients, okay? Those people are making enormous sacrifices. What would the president be asking the American people to do? He's not saying, he's not saying to storm the beaches at Normandy, right? He's saying, go home. Go home. Spend a month with your family, okay? And I know for some families that's a hardship, okay? But it's nothing. Go home. Take a deep breath. Spend time with loved ones. Take care of your children, okay? Don't worry. No landlord's going to collect rent, from anyone who can't afford to pay it. The government's going to step in and fund, send you money so you can buy food. We keep the supermarkets open. We keep the drugstores open. We keep the hospitals open. We keep our national defense working. And yes, we have to shut the borders, okay? And then 30 days later, the virus is gone in America, largely gone in America. And then we have to be careful, okay, for the next 12 to 18 months until we have a vaccine. And by careful, I mean we have to practice social distancing. We don't shake hands. We don't hug and kiss.
This is video from 2021.
We wear masks and we test like crazy. Okay, we need a test where in 5 minutes you can tell whether you have the virus. And think about the flu. The reason why the flu is not so dangerous and not as nearly as scary is because when people get sick, they stay home.
Yeah.
And by staying home, they don't pass it on to people. What's happening here is you have a 20-year-old. You look at the beaches in Fort Lauderdale. Unfortunately, a week ago, right? They're packed with 18 to 22-year-olds having the time of their lives, spreading the virus. Okay, and they're probably okay, most of them, vast majority of them. But when they go home to their parents, or they go home to their loved one or their friend who just had breast cancer surgery and and is immune compromised, they're going to kill that person. Okay, and once you have the thought experiment, okay, that everyone feels 99% chance I'll be okay. Okay, but it's not you. It's the person you give it to. And the paradigm I had, I said, look, I am not going to kill.
Oh, dude, that's fantastic. Fungo golf tournaments that's fun stuff. All right, here's Bill Ackman 3 hours ago, I guess it was. Neri and I had 7 miscarriages trying to have a second child during COVID, and then the time ran out. What was he thinking? According to the New York Times, 8 hours ago, Fauci privately warned the miscarriage risk linked to COVID jab while publicly claiming no issue. Newly released text show. Yeah, here's Tom Logos. You and all your elite friends promoted the deadly vax, buddy. Why should anyone ever listen to you again? Here's Bill Ackman, the same guy, 2021. Is that the guy that Candace went after? I can't remember. I didn't keep up with it too much. Bill Ackman, why don't Target, Walmart, and Kroger become our vaccine distribution hubs? They have large parking lots, trained our pharmaceutical staff, and weekly customer visits. Outdoor shots would minimize risk and inspire wary customers to get one. Every day we wait more die, and variant risk increases. These guys, again, government, the internet they don't go away. Here's one of the links, Children's Health Defense. This is 2022, why COVID jab should be banned for pregnant women. From Dr. Joseph Mercola. I remember reading a bunch of Mercola back then. Mercola got slammed for talking about stuff like this. I don't think you're even supposed to even mention his name. There's evidence continues to build that criminal cover-up. 44% of women the trial suffer miscarriages. Name Dr. Wolf. Remember her? Recently reported analysis of Pfizer data. 44% miscarriages. It's 2022. These lying scumbags are trying to get away with this again. The statistic turns out to be the result of a miscalculation, as Pfizer listed miscarriages in 2 separate columns, resulting in them being counted twice. Substack article by Dr. Picuri addressed another absolutely horrifying findings on miscarriages found in the Pfizer data dumps. Let's do a dive on each page. Here, I'll do this. I'll put this in the chat right here. You guys can share it around saying, hey, these guys have been talking about this for years ago. See if anybody else is talking about this. No. My hands were literally trembling as I write this, but here it goes. In these 32 pregnancies, in these 32 pregnancies, as a trial, here's a pregnancy test, 274 cases, including 23 spontaneous abortions. I remember reading this exact one. 2 spontaneous abortions with intra-eternal death. So 25 of the 32 pregnancies with known outcomes resulted in miscarriage, a rate of 78%. Note that miscarriage occurs only in 12 to 15% of pregnancies. 2 premature births with neonatal death, 1 spontaneous abortion with neonatal death, 1 normal outcome. Note that this adds up to 29 known outcomes. So in 32 pregnancies, they knew the outcome of 87.5% resulted in the death of the fetus or neonate. Burying this data in the way and not alerting the world to what they found is criminal. This was out there for people to find. Facebook did not let me post that. I don't know. Anyway, yes, this was out there. People were out there. They were talking about this left and right. Children's Health Defense was all over this. Who else is doing a good job with that? Dale Bigtree. Bigtree was all over this too. I guarantee you, go into Dale Bigtree's thing, you'll see videos on this. Here's just a little Google chat or Google thing. There's videos about it, and they're talking about the importance of it at the time. All these guys promoting that it was okay. Updated cover all pregnant women and real world data. Raise no safety concerns. Yeah. CDC, this 2025. Yeah, this throws a wrench in the thing. Oh, it's not there anymore. This is from Based Underground. CDC still pushing jabs on pregnant women despite 37 serious problems. Here's the account Jefferson Davis on the dumbest civil rights case in history gets dumber. The article says the federal judges should have gone back with the Yakamba. Said the claim was not against the name, but was on the school continuously, but not because of the school continuously, but because it was changed and then reversed. It was later a new name. Here's this leads up to the next section here. This because of the guy that won in Michigan, I think it is. Resurfaced 2021. Abdul Al-Shaheed blog claims toxic masculinity is in the heart of American football, pointing to racism, misogyny, and homophobia. Ron DeSantis says running statewide in Michigan as an opponent of football is not the best strategy. I commented and I don't care either way. I'm going, why do you care? You're in Florida. Who cares? A governor running a vulnerable state during Rona. Oh, there was definitely a Rona guy right there. Oh, forgot about putting this one in. Jackson Hinkle goes, the Argentine peso is officially worthless. So he took the chainsaw. If you remember the chainsaw that he came out with good old Elon, he took the chainsaw to his own economy. Everybody loved him for it, though.
Fear Islam. I would argue it's your duty as a Christian to stand up and fight against it. And I have been blown away by how openly the Israel First crowd is demanding that I and others hate Muslims. I now see we've all been manipulated. You have no idea.
He's a wall kisser.
And powerful AIPAC, Israel, its lobby, its paid agents. Like, you are not allowed to be in any way soft on Muslims. My God, the rise of Islamic terror in Europe. We've had a couple of disturbing attacks this week alone.
We now literally have CCTV showing a terror attack being planned within the prayer room of a mosque. Unfortunately, Megan, a lot of taqiyya is being practiced.
Anyways, there's just evidence of Megan has now flipped again on Islam. Impressively, Kelly has gone from one declaring Islam incompatible with the West to claiming she was manipulated by Israel into hating Muslims to once again sounding the alarm about the danger Islam poses to the West, all in a span of 7 months.
So if you are elected and make this push, would you need to increase taxes?
As I've said across this campaign, I am for taxing billionaires their wealth.
What about people who make less than $1 billion and less than $1 million, though, Dr. Al-Sayed? What about people making less than $1 million?
So for the average person, and you look at your W-2, if you're an employee who gets paid every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, after you pay your taxes, the next biggest check that comes off the top of your pay stub is to your health insurance company. So imagine instead of paying that to your health insurance company, whose CEO makes $20 million a year, instead you paid a little bit more in taxes for healthcare that you wouldn't lose if you lost your job or turned 26.
Some Americans worry, though, you can.
In a sense, because they were talking about was the comment. Al-Sayed acknowledges that Americans will pay higher taxes under his proposed government-run socialist healthcare system, which, if it's in Michigan, totally legal. It's up to you. See anybody? Romney care? That was a blueprint. Obamacare was illegal because it was federally put in. So again, you get the government out of healthcare. You know why health insurances are terrible? It's because DC tells all the insurance companies what to do. And then you can't buy across state lines. And then you have tort reform. And there's so many things that the federal government screws up in health insurance, because it's all about insurance. Again, if you're upset about the Michigan thing, you should be upset about Romney Care in Massachusetts when Romney was there. Now, obviously, you're upset about Obamacare, which is now Trump Care. So it was like, hey, we got a socialist healthcare system. Guess what? They're all socialists. Every person in DC is a socialist by some degree or whatever. Probably most people that are in your state house, probably that. But now we're upset because it's a Muslim guy. I don't want federal government paying anything. Martha, I don't want federal government going to pay for. I don't want anybody's tax. But you know how much? 10% tax at anything, and that's it. And no, I'm talking get rid of the federal income tax. Boom, done. That should be gone. I do not know how that got passed. No one just burned down a city at the time. Don't get it. And people are upset. You know what? If you leave, if you leave from the union, you get 40% of your income stays in your money. And people will get upset about that because I guess you got to be in the Olympics. I don't know. But yes, there's no difference in his ideas versus the guy. Was the current GOP guys do? They're pretty much do what he's saying. He just said, these guys just say it because you're already doing it. So why not just say it? I mean, you got the progressive income tax. It's like that right now. All these guys. It depends on what state you're in. It gets worse. That's why some states are eliminating state income tax, and more people will end up flocking there. And kind of like the NFL when they call the copycat league, hopefully more states will take over. Like, we're getting rid of this. We're getting rid of this. We're getting rid of this. Yeah, there's nothing that's a temporary measure. Nothing. The whiskey tax is still on the books from the Whiskey Rebellion. It hasn't been gone. Here's Holden. Whitney Webb just said the quiet part out loud, or just play it.
It's fair to say that the network behind the data center push is extremely large and influential, obviously spearheaded by big tech companies that at this point have, for all intents and purposes, fused with the national security state. And this has been ongoing for some time. So a good example is to look back at the 2018 National Security Commission on AI that was chaired by Eric Schmidt, the former Google CEO, and a close associate of Schmidt who had previously held a top position at what is now the Department of War. And basically everyone on that commission was either a major executive at one of these big tech companies that is behind the data center push, or figures that had previously worked for the military. To establish basically the U.S. roadmap on AI and what needed to be done for quote unquote national security purposes. And it's fair to say that even beyond that, you can see how these two groups have become so intertwined by the fact that the intelligence community, as well as the military and other major aspects of the federal government, contract extensively with these same big tech companies and are arguably largely dependent on them.
It's in the show notes. You want to watch the whole 5 minutes of it. Here's Ryan Grimm. CNN just did an entire article based on the New York Post hoax about 9/11 families being mad at Mandami, which turned out to just be a fake petition without any 9/11 families. CNN writes about the controversy, which again was entirely fabricated by the New York Post.
Abdul al-Sayed and the other members of the party that listens to him have to combat the anti-Semitism or that language and to make sure that people like you do feel safe at the convention?
Well, first of all, I'd like for him to tone down his rhetoric a little bit. And what I mean by that is that, AIPAC, which many of us do not support or agree with, and Israel, with many of us who do not support or agree with their government or the actions of Benjamin Netanyahu, they cannot be the central villain in literally every story, right? So if we're talking about, reforming healthcare, which all of us want to do in the party, it's not AIPAC that is responsible for those problems. It's the health insurance and pharmaceutical companies. If we want to combat climate change, that's not AIPAC in Israel that's responsible. That's big oil and fossil fuel industry. If it's the housing crisis, let's look at private equity firms and real estate trade organizations. Not everything is about AIPAC. Not everything is about Israel. And I think it's a misrepresentation to say that even if we wiped Israel off the face of the earth tomorrow, everyday Michiganders' lives wouldn't be better on all of those fronts. So,
Yeah, this one. I'm glad Israel spent $32 million to stop Massey. That should stop the conspiracy theory that the Jews control our government. Here's Michigan should toss this guy back to the homeland.
I don't think, honestly, I would say that the entire purpose of my campaign is to make sure America continues to support Israel. I don't think it's wrong to use America. America is not our homeland. We have been victims of anti-Semitism.
No rhetoric being toned down there. Michigan State Senator Jeremy Moss was caught on the tape saying that.
For my own people. And of course, Israel is very important to us as a community. And so honestly, I would say that the entire purpose of my campaign is to make sure America continues to support Israel. I don't think it's wrong to use America.
And he just won. Here's a Gen X girl. Here's a thread on this Israel agent, Zionist Jeremy Moss, running for the state seat in Michigan's 11th district, is funded by the Israel lobby Dark Money. He's getting. There's at least 3 campaigns for it. And reading the thread, it gets into much more of this down here. University of Michigan recruits state attorney general crack down on Gaza protesters. This is back in 2025. She wrote about this. There's Jeremy Moss there. Oh, look. Isn't that who we just heard about? Dana Nessel? You got to turn that down, remember? Is that Dana again? Yep, there's Dana right there. Yep, Michigan AG, Dana. Got to turn that down, remember? Here's her down here again. Squad goals.
By The Guardian could play a role in the upcoming primary election. It has to do with reported leaked messages revealing obscene comments allegedly made by University of Michigan Regent Jordan Acker. Now, according to a source who shared the messages with Fox 2, Acker made the lewd comments back in 2020 and 2021 in reference to a Democratic Party strategist and a female U of M student. This comes right before the primary convention election for 2 open U of M board seats that's happening tomorrow. Acker is endorsed by several
That's Dana again. Remember, she just told her about he needs to tone it down.
Profile local politicians, including Governor Gretchen Whitmer and State Senator Mallory McMorrow. Now, bombshell.
Just in case you don't remember. That's Dana, who's been in the photos with him. Hey, you guys in Michigan, yeah, played on that one. I don't know why any candidate who would run on a platform where they oppose Zionism, Israel, foreign meddling. Zionists attacked him, Republicans attacked him, Democrats attacked him, pro-Palestinians attack him. You're under constant attack. Shaking my head. Trump on Abdullah al-Sayed. No, he hates Jews and he hates Israel. Can you believe this? I'm not saying the guy's a good. I have no idea. I'm not in Michigan, so I don't care. But it's funny how everyone's losing their minds over him. But they don't. No one's saying anything about the gigantic Zionists that are running against them. So many groups want to destroy American Western civilization. Yeah, yes. I mean, they're doing it to themselves. Actually, I mean, again, that goes into the idea if this isn't a country, anyways. So it's because it's too big, you get cancer and you crush and die. So this is too big, it's out of scale, which will end up it'll break apart anyways. Can't get too much bigger before it does that. Across 9,951 posts on the Real Maouf account, 19% are exact re-uploads of his older posts, 33% of the media with copies disguised by swap words. He recycled library 903 posts, some used up to 18 times. There's a Evo Jacoby recycles the same content on a loop, the same photo, near identical caption. X has a name for this, copy pasta. 4 of these posts below with how many times each one went up. All right, so this is talking about Wall Street apes. This is what it's like to visit Al Cajon, California. This is one of the big cities in San Diego. It's turning into Iraq. Islamic shops, halal meats, Muslim markets. James Lee goes, I live in San Diego. El Cajon has 100 plus churches and 3 mosques. Again, it's all about who you listen to. If you listen to Wall Street apes and you just listen, oh man, he's speaking the truth. I praise the Lord, hallelujah. He's speaking the gospel word. Do you do your due diligence? Just like even with me, don't take everything I say with as gospel truth. Look it up, see if I'm wrong, see if I'm right. Do your own due diligence. Don't just look at somebody that posts something, goes, he's speaking the truth. Think, think. I'm not saying it's good to have one there, but for people that are saying, oh, we're getting it taken over. All right, there's 100 churches. Christians, wake up then. Get holier. One Protestant church is too much. How about that? Do we have that same zeal? Go after the mosque, get upset about the mosque movement. We have that same zeal for Proddies. We got to convert the Muslims. Hey, we convert into Proddies. We got to do both. Here's a Gen X girl. Israel claims it's only safe place for Jews, except for African Jews who seek asylum. Forced contraceptives on African women, treat them like third-class humans. Now depict them as garbage. Everything about this country, fake country, is a lie. And here's an article right there. Ethiopian women in Israel given contraception without consent. No, yeah. Hey, trust me, South Carolina, about 20 minutes away from you, south of here. Islamville. It's a real thing. Let's see, here is Catherine Austin Fitz talking about the American tax dollar prop up Israel's zombie economy. They discussed the article on Israel bonds and government hijacking our financial resources and assets to fund Israel's zombie economy. Okay, selling off churches, the Mohammedans. It's about the money, I guess. Who's the top dollar? Who's got top dollar? Well, that happened there was a Buffalo church that happened as well. I think that went to a mosque. Beautiful one, I think it was. Sounds like a lawful life like eugenics. It sounds like that, huh? Yeah. Sounds like a duck, walks like a duck. France 24, dozens of Nigerians freed after 6 months in jihadi captivity. U.S. oil rises back over to $82 as doubt grows. Washington and Tehran will reach Hormuz deal. They won't. Once the future king, Trump says Sunday that the U.S. is only semi-negotiating with them. Trump indicated that he would rely on U.S. blockade pressure, blah, blah, blah. Iran's foreign minister Ismail says Monday that the U.S. must lift its blockade before Tehran would agree to fully open Hormuz. They pretty much said they have to leave. They ain't opening until they leave. Oil in U.S. strategic petroleum reserve falls below 300 million barrels, lowest since 1983, and it will get lower. Strategic pipeline petroleum reserve fell by 6.1 million barrels, according to the Department of Energy. Trump orders the release of 172 million barrels in March after Iran choked off. That was back then. The minimum amount of oil needed to safely operate the SRP is about 70 million barrels. He'll eventually may have to leave. I think I heard this was on Judge Knapp's show, that he's been talking about leaving, just declare victory and leave, just to try to save the economy in a little bit. Iran insists Strait will stay closed until U.S. agrees to demands. California city declares state of emergency after cyber attack on computer systems. I don't know how that happens. The city council of Suisun County declared a state of emergency Saturday after a cyber attack forced the municipality to shut down its information technology network. No imminent threat to the public, blah, blah, blah. Okay. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy, this is talking about the executive order on the MMR. I'm a doctor. The executive order is wrong. The president does not have the expertise to make these changes. He also doesn't have the legal authority to make any changes too. But no one cares about that. They're all fine with the pen and a phone, as Obama said. Yes, the EO is an abuse of power. Jabs are overwhelmingly safe. Jabs are effective. Jabs do not cause autism. Okay. Parents should listen to their children's pediatrician about jabs rather than listen to inaccurate executive orders. We have a kid's pediatrician that's against the jab. Would he be okay with that one? Probably not. Speaking of martyrdom from before with the bishops, the Martyrs Walk. And next walk is September 17th through the 19th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I think it is. 2026, register only. This right now is just open for the guys because it's a guy's boot camp in a sense. So if you're a guy, or if you're a lady out there watching, you know a guy that you say, you know what, we need to put a foot up his keister or anything like that. Send him over here. My man Jason runs it. He will shape up anybody in it. I think there's a few spots left available, but anyway, check it out. Go give it a shot. Go see what you got in here. What is it? It's the Martyrs, the boot camp retreat, intensive faith experience for men that will include mental, physical, and spiritual exercise that will push you beyond your perceived abilities. The only competition you will face on this journey will be against yourself. Best described as an Ignatian retreat meets military-style boot camp. This intensely immersive challenge will take you on a 3-day journey of prayer, fellowship, and brotherhood. Oh, is the goal of every man. Here it is. And there's some people, here's some testimonials for guys. 45, number 46. I don't know their names. 48. Anyway, check it out. Here's a group of them down here. Is the original guys in there? Some of the original guys went back and will become coaches. So anyways, go do it. If you haven't been able to do it or know somebody, recommend somebody, give it a shot. Have you done it? I was thinking about doing how many people do it. I think it's about 8 or 9, maybe 10 at the most per walk. They do it 4 times a week. Jason originally wanted to do it every month. I ended up telling him, so yeah, do the seasonal until it becomes so big that you have to do it every month. And if it gets bigger, he's going to expand it to more cities. And there's already been cities that have asked for it. But it's about 10 minutes away from me, and just across the border, right before the border in South Carolina. You'll go in the lake. There's boxing involved. You'll go to Belmont Abbey, and they'll do stuff there too. So it's he does a good job with it. That was kind of like Fight Club. You're not supposed to talk about Fight Club. What is this? Article is Trump to sign executive order calling for spacing out childhood shots. Okay, that was the article.
Put that energy into, I try to think about my whole year and what I've done all year and whatever I've done wrong. And I try to put that energy into the sins, and I transfer that energy almost to the chicken. That's basically what we're doing. And unfortunately, chickens are sacrificed for our sins so that we can go on living, but the chickens are donated to people so that they can eat. I tried.
They sacrifice chickens. It's kind of like Serrano in Major League. They're going to sacrifice a live chicken just so he can get us out of the slump. Yeah, they did a ton. Jason did a lot of stuff up for the hurricane victims during Helene. What activities they do? I'm trying not to say too much, but they said boxing involved, carrying a cross, walking it, teamwork, some trust stuff, going into the lake as a team, going into the lake. Obviously prayer, silence. Your cell phone is not allowed to be on. It's pretty much a silent retreat most of the time. You stay, you're in, you're not coming out. You don't know anything that's going out outside. But yeah, think about a closed door spiritual Ignatian retreat that with some boot camp stuff involved in it. Yeah, they try. Yeah, they do try. Or AOC says she's freezing her eggs and still mulling a presidential run. Representative AOC acknowledged the political risk of openly discussing her reproductive decisions. Everyone, their brother, is talking about that right now. Moderate Democrats scramble to block a socialist from winning in Wisconsin. Again, most people are socialists. So, I mean, now all of a sudden, hey, we don't like that socialist. We like our socialists. Mm-hmm. Hawaii Democrat incumbent fends off left-wing challenger in congressional primaries. So left-wing incumbent fends off another left-wing incumbent. So they're making this guy sound like he's the John C. Calhoun. Porter Airlines flight in Canada canceled after a child refuses to sit down and buckle up. Imagine that if you got your family, you couldn't get the kid to sit down. Canceled last week after a young child refused to sit down and buckle up, forcing the plane back to the terminal and delaying its path. Why would that even cause that? Try to remove successfully secured the child in his seat before returning the plane to the terminal in Victoria International Airport in British Columbia to remove the parent and child.
Protests, while a growing number of legislators drought crisis, the U.S. territory is now rationing water after the driest month in 120 years. And with no relief in sight, the water shortages have resulted in organized protests, while a growing number of legislators are demanding answers. And our Ashin Singh has the latest. Ashin.
Hey, Gio. Yeah, the big headline here is that this is now a significant water crisis, but it's still not an island-wide shutdown in Puerto Rico. More than 180,000 customers in San Juan and 6 surrounding municipalities are now on a rotating schedule. You can leave them without running water for 48 hours at a time. Nearly 68% of Puerto Rico is now in drought. San Juan has had over just 2 inches of rain since the start of meteorological summer, more than just 9 inches below normal. And July brought only about half an inch, the driest July on record there. The drought is expected to both persist and possibly even expand. The Puerto Rican water system was already dealing with chronic outages. And
as Geopolitics Empire says, so predictable. They are going to use water rationing among other terrorist activities, tactics to get us to submit to their new world order. Bear Grylls. You see, he's doing something with the chosen people. Yeah, you hear about the story about Bear. He would spend the night in the hotels and then have the helicopter flying back to on scene. I used to like Bear too until I heard about all that. Alaska Airlines flight in Miami forced to lock down cockpit over passenger threats. 2 passengers removed on a plane, later were booked on a flight. Heard saying, we want to go into lockdown protocol. We're shutting down our engine and the parking brake is set. I don't know what they were yelling at. They don't say in there. We're going to play the B-52s if you don't do this. China could use robot dogs to guard its lunar bases. Study says, let's try that again. China could use robot dogs to guard its lunar bases. I didn't even know they had lunar bases. How's traditionalism in Puerto Rico? I have no idea. I have zero clue on that one. Probably not much. I have no idea. That's a question. Good question. I have zero. Sorry, I have no clue on that. Flock cameras can track every car in America. Police love them, citizens don't.
My life.
They are looking for people.
You guys are trying to recruit gamers?
They problem solve, they're spatially aware, they do multiple things at the same time.
I've been a gamer most of my life.
They are looking for people to play video games. Okay, well that definitely fits me.
Yeah, you know what, I'm one of them.
You can merge gaming with aviation, why not? It's like the best of both worlds.
I actually encountered the gamer ad.
I grew up playing a lot of flight simulators. I've always loved airplanes.
The similarities, making decisions in just a couple seconds or less.
So I wrote down the date and I stayed up till 12 until they launched the application. I
I went out, passed the test, and I can't wait to become an air traffic controller overall.
It's my dream career because I think ATC is the coolest thing ever.
This is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm going to have a proud wife, 3 sons.
I have my wife at home, 2 little girls. Great opportunity for me and my family.
We've never had a group perform that well.
In April, we launched a new campaign to recruit video gamers as air traffic controllers and supercharged the entire hiring process to get the best and brightest in fast. The results are historic. 94% hiring goal met. The fastest ever, 2,000 hired, the most in a single year. 2,000 of the best and brightest. Air traffic control guys are paid well, and they also have the highest suicide rate I've heard before. I picked up one in Uber, and he was studying his brains out. He was telling me what's a star, what's not a star, what's this, what's that. He was having to study left and right. Gamers rise up. Pretty much. Until they take your life because you know things. Little do and the alcoholism results in job path. I know I'm not flying anymore. I don't know. They might be pretty good, though. I don't know. I've never played any of those games to be able to figure out that this was good or not. In Germany, beach where bathers must speak German sparks far-right row. I was at the grocery store today, and I was thinking to myself, I need to learn Spanish just to walk around in Gastonia, North Carolina. That is not horrible, it's not terrible, but it was pretty impressive. I was like, man, I don't know. Good night. It's kind of Puerto Rico has a diocese. They're probably going to use Game as Fly, but they already have that. Yes, yeah. Machete versus Hatchet face-off escalated quickly. Okay, 2 combatants. This is a perfect story for Clown Planet. 2 combatants arrested after Publix parking lot front confrontation. This is like a Jeff Foxworthy, you might be a redneck joke. A face-off straight out of the news team Rumble scene in Anchorman. Yep. A machete-carrying man faced off against a hatchet-wielding opponent in the parking of a Publix shopping center. As detailed as a criminal complaint, cops responded Tuesday to the Panama City business and found the duo each suffering from lacerations to their hands. Investigators say Everett, 52, was in his car when James Gay, 35, drove up and stopped near him. After a verbal altercation, Gay exited his vehicle and approached Crispin in an aggressive manner. From there, matters escalated quickly. Gay returned to his ride. Cops charged and retrieved the machete. I need to get one anyways. David the Good talks about having a good one on to help out in the backyard. And struck Critcham in the face with the sheathed weapon. I was going to say he tore his face off. How does he still have a face after that? Kept it sheathed. He just slapped him with a machete. Critcham told police that he had initially brandished the hatchet in an attempt to deter Gay. During the 4:30, I wish somebody had video on this. Struggle over both weapons. Each man sustained hand injuries. A review of the public surveillance video contributed to the police determination that Gay was the confrontation's aggressor, charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Gay is locked up in lieu of $50,000 in bond. Please tell me there's video of this. No, it's just the affidavit. Because a new name, the Gay Bastion. I can't take credit. Anodoni with the phrase that pays. He wins the quote of the day. It's the summer of purse guys, speaking of gay. For years, men have talked themselves out of one of fashion's greatest inventions. This summer, cool guys are embracing bags from the huge to the itty bitty. I don't know anybody that's cool that's doing that. Mark, do you have your bag? Steady day in the water is wet section. Steady daily routines linked to better health regardless of poor sleep. Yes, if you have a regular, it helps out. Only games be okay without getting paid for a month at a time. They don't pay bills in months. Hey, yeah, you're not wrong. Probably. Older adults with chronic insomnia keep daily routines as regular good sleepers. Across adults with steady daily schedules For awakened eating and social lighting reports less pain, lower body mass index, and fewer depressive symptoms. But yeah, again, we're creatures of habit. Do you hear what's going on about with the AI bubble all the time? They bring it up as that there is one. It's just, what's it going to be like? Speaking of not AI, but homeschooling, Our Lady of Victory School homeschool courses. 45 years experience, 100% traditional Catholic, trusted curriculum. They are a great curriculum. I've heard many people write me say this is a great homeschooling program school. Accredited, flexible, individualized support, open enrollments, affordable, and self-paced study. Here's the story. Offering learning options. Take the quiz. Go on olvs.org. Check it out. If you're interested in homeschooling in general, they will help you out. Now to Iran's, or around Iran. Suicide drone hits Libya's Zawawi refinery. Massive fire rages as fuel tanks collapse.
The only one that has control of the Strait of Hormuz right now is the United States Navy.
In the Navy. In the Navy. Someone needs to make a movie spoof video out of that. It's the Navy. In the Navy.
We have a blockade that's been infallible. It's a steel wall.
There's got to be somebody in there that just says, stop lying.
And we let people in that we want to let in, and those people come in, and they've been coming in and they're going out. So it's actually open now. We do not let them go into Iran. They're not.
Yeah, they're letting them. I bet the Iranians are going, I wonder if they pop popcorn and just look at it going, let's see what else is coming out with. Until America corrects its behavior, the Strait of Hormuz will not open. Full story. This is from Australia. Correct its behavior. Iran issues us U.S. with 6 demands to reopen the strait. Let's see what the 6 are. In the Navy. In the Navy. Let's see. Do they have it in order? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Said U.S. must stop threatening Iran and insulting what he described as the country's sanctions in military action against Iran and its allies, Lebanon, the Palestinian territories, Yemen, and Iraq, and lift the naval blockade. The rest of the demands call for U.S. sea and air forces to withdraw from Iran, compensation for damages from 2 wars, removal of sanctions against Iran, and the unconditional release of frozen Iranian assets, as pretty much they talked about a month ago. Also, I wouldn't have had a child 9 months after prom. Highly likely. Well, no idea. Don't worry about the what ifs, Mark. You can't change the past. Just here's Professor John Mearsheimer. Iran war must end. The U.S. has used up 80% of our THAAD missiles and 65% of the Patriots.
There's reports of the depletion of U.S. military capacity. Do you think that was General Kane surreptitiously trying to feed things to the press because they're too frightened to talk to Trump directly? Or do you think this was a tactical attempt at trying to say to Iran, we're running out, and then trying to attack again? What was behind all these leaks to the press that the United States was running out of military capacity?
Well, the first point I would make to you is that before the war started, General Kane was warning Trump that we had limited stocks of munitions for purposes of waging a war against Iran. And we certainly could not fight a protracted war. But what's happened is we're engaged in a protracted war. And it's amazing the extent to which we have depleted our stockpile of sophisticated weaponry. And these weapons are not going to be easy to replace. If you just look at air defense missiles, there are 2 kinds. One are the THAADs, and then the other are the Patriots. We have used up 80% of our THAAD missiles and 65% of our Patriots. With regard to, our attack missiles, our smart missiles that you can use for offensive purposes, we've used up 50% of the Tomahawks. And according to press reports, virtually all of the ATACMs and PRISMs. So the United States has really seriously damaged its inventory of sophisticated weapons that it really needs in places like East Asia, in places like Ukraine, and so forth and so on. And I think that someone, who knows who it is, has leaked this information in large part to send out a clear message that the Iran war has to end. And certainly we cannot escalate in that war without even doing more damage to our weapons.
Here's the Hormuz report breaking. Iran has completely ruled out any future negotiations with the Trump administration, declaring it will wait out DJT's term until January 20th, 2029, per Iranian outlets and Geopolitics advisors post. Trump will not be reached with agreement with us 2029. What year is 2029? Well, that's the 100th anniversary of the consecration of Russia. That didn't happen. The request to Russia, 2029. Iran's conditions remain unchanged. $300 billion. We already talked about that.
To wake up, President Trump did, thank goodness, and he's the first president that really has acted upon this threat that has been hanging over our heads for all these many years.
You know, Ambassador,
Yeah, it gives, you've been threatened for 47 years. Oh, yeah, you haven't been.
hear what you're saying, and thank you so much for being here with us today and the work that you're doing. You had said how many beatings to essentially get Iran to correct their behavior? Well, I think that's a question a lot of Americans are asking themselves. You know, you look at the efforts against Iran so far, why hasn't it accomplished that goal? Why hasn't it gotten them to correct their behavior yet?
The big reason, Lisa, is because the Iranian regime really is much more able to absorb the pain. They don't care. They don't care if they kill 60,000 of their own people in the course of just shutting down the protest. They're also a regime that, frankly, doesn't think like a government should think. They're not thinking in terms of their future. This is a government that is based on a radical theological basis, not a
He's not doing any theological things ever, right?
Political one. So if anyone understands that they don't just sit down at the negotiating table and say, what would be good for our people?
So
they
will
don't
it
care
ever
what's
work?
good for their people.
So will it ever work?
Well, here's one thing that has happened. The Iranian regime is weaker than it has been in 47 years.
It's weaker, but wait.
The infliction of harm to them and of pain to them is not something that is imagined. Their ability to produce a nuclear weapon has been greatly set back, but their missile capacity, unfortunately, has grown. And in 1 year,
But remember, they're weaker, but their missiles have grown.
they went from being able to deliver a ballistic missile from 2,000 kilometers to over 4,100 kilometers. That puts their capacity to touch any city in most of Europe: London, Paris, Berlin.
There's the fear. Now, let's try speaking of the generals singing in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Headsec pushes $1.5 trillion budget at base Graham. At base Graham, remember Lindsey Graham, the base got changed to Lindsey Graham base Graham. IDF general wants Gaza destroyed for generations. Gaza girl dies of wounds after being shot by Israeli forces. Trump says Iran should compensate the U.S. Iran says the U.S. has an addiction to economic sanctions. Can't argue that. West Bank Christian Village is a closed military zone. Cellular attack on Palestinians surged by 63%. Lebanon, Israel shares annexation map. Ukrainian drones kills 13 in Russia's Donetsk, whatever. Yeah, weaker. They're running the straight. They're so weak. They're this. In the Navy, can't do anything to Iran. Pentagram strategy to emphasize tactical nukes. Again, the Pentagram strategy to emphasize tactical nukes. So I think it might have been, yeah, it definitely was. I can't remember which one from Judge. It was one of the early shows. Mentioned that Israel is using nukes on Iran, but in a slow way. It's not an immediate bomb. It's slow. Same idea. Anyway, this was earlier this morning. Iran has just launched multiple anti-cruise missiles from Sharik, southern Iran striking an oil tanker off the coast of Oman in the U.S. backed southern corridor or the Strait of Hormuz. The tanker is now on fire. And one of the guys mentioned that, hey, Iran has finally learned how to play market manipulation. So two can play that game. Here's Courtney Bono images. These are armed Israeli surveillance drones flying over Lebanon right now. Not only are they used for data collection, they're used as a form of psychological terrorism. It says, I couldn't hear I could barely hear anything on here. But Courtney also says, I've said this before, I like to reiterate until you get it. Americans, the violence you export will always come home to you. Your government will start using these tactics against you. Yeah, of course it will. Here's a war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu saying, live on air, in Iran, we targeted civilians, families, fathers, mothers, and children. We killed them. That's why he's wanted by the ICC. In sports, this is why you all turn in right now. Royce White says his fear of flying has ended. His NBA career early was actually the transgender trapped inside of me. That gave me an aversion to small spaces. I realized my fear of, let me, you can just take
small spaces. I think I realized my fear of flying really wasn't a fear of flying. It was the transgender trap.
Yes, and yes, he's making fun of everything that's going on with this.
Inside of me, caged inside of me. That gave me an aversion to small spaces. I think there are plenty of people out there who have
that makes perfect sense.
A transgender trap deep down inside of them, and so they think.
Oh, everyone! Oh, no, everyone.
Here's the other day, Dahani Carrington blames white privilege after being ejected on a hard foul on Sophia Cunningham. Carrington was given a flagrant foul too, and it was immediately ejected. Watch her just clothesline her. But give it to Sophia. And I've gotten up and one, baby. But yeah, the Johnny, she tweeted out white privilege. So decapitating somebody and yeah, it was a terrible foul. This was a good one. He's entering the draft.
So proud. Hey guys, it's Adam Francisco, and I just wanted to say that I am so proud of Enos Freedom being his true, authentic self and declaring his eligibility for the WNBA. I wanted to piggyback off of his announcement, and I also wanted to declare myself eligible for the upcoming WNBA draft. If self-identification is the only eligibility requirement, well then, I guess I'm eligible too. And no, I don't plan on making any physical changes. No surgeries, no hormones. I'm not even going to change my name or my pronouns. But according to progressive rules, none of that is required to affirm my identity. I might be 43 years old and I might be recovering from a kidney transplant, but after watching some recent highlights of Angel Reese, I am confident that I can contribute to a WNBA team, both on the court as well as in the locker room. I look forward to hearing from the WNBA, and I cannot wait to hear my name called in the 2027 draft.
Who owns Charlotte? Michael Jordan. So
here's and it's just throwing this out there because this is not uncommon. He has no problem doing things.
I order his shoes. His most famous shoe is called Concord. I put made with slave labor. Before the game, right? I'm gonna go out there and play with those. I saw Michael Jordan on the stands. And I was just like, this is it. Like, this cannot get any more fun and better than this. So I went out there with his shoes, played in front of Michael Jordan with his own shoes, and put made with slave labor. After the game, all my teammates walked up to me and said, buddy, this is your last year. Have fun. You're not going to be playing basketball ever again on an NBA court. So say goodbye to basketball. My agent called me and he said, listen, man, I work for you. I don't work for an NBA. But this is our last year. Just have fun. If you say, you already did enough damage to NBA and everyone else around you. But if you say another word, you're not going to be, playing basketball ever again. And you're 29 years old. You can play another 6 years. You're not only throwing away 6 years, you're literally throwing away between $30 to $40 million. I said, okay. I hang up the phone. Never talk to him again.
Women, how come you didn't write in your language those born female? How come you didn't make that clear? Because if you were born a female, even if you're transitioning to being a female, because you weren't born a female, that would make you ineligible to enter the WNBA. Why didn't you do that? Otherwise, you're going to have cats 6'8" with goatees walking in your league or claiming they're going to walk in your league. You can deny them entry. You can refuse to draft them, but you open yourself up to potential legal action until you clarify what the hell is going on. Player eligibility is collectively bargained, meaning this is also an issue involving the WNBA Players Association, not simply a unilateral decision for the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, which means that, yes, the league office should have done more, but the Players Association, you got to get on top of it.
Yeah, guys with goatees. Enos, who we just saw a minute ago, sent the WNBA her formal letter declaring for the WNBA draft. Congrats to Miss Cantor, the strongest, bravest woman I know. Please accept this formal declaration, my official written notification that the women WNBA of my voluntary decision to enter the player pool for the 2027 draft. Puts the link.
Well, it's official. I just declared for the 2027 WNBA
Invest in women, pay women, hire women.
draft in April. Join me in this journey.
When has Cantor Freedom decided he's going to throw his hat into the WNBA?
The WNBA does not ban men who identify as women right now from playing in the league.
We would dominate the WNBA without batting an eyelash.
The number one prospect in the history of the WNBA.
I absolutely love this. I might watch the WNBA if this happens. I've been hoping for this for years. How many points would he average a game? 50, easily, before the half. In other weird sports, here's a new game. I can't play the song. Don't Touch the Can is the name of the game. Which I think I can get my kids to play this. This is not ESPN de Ocho. This is a real thing. And in baseball, I had to play. This was something when they say that there's always something you've never seen before.
어딜 탔나 보세요. 저 지금 제 눈을 의심했는데 세상에. 야!
This goes up the railing.
와, 이러면 인정 2루타가 됩니다. 네. 야, 저는 이런 장면 처음 본 것 같아요.
You'll never see that again. Just amazing.
네.
It's just
어딜 탔나 보세요.
amazing.
저
It's
지금
amazing
제
because
눈을
it's
의심했는데
because you've never seen that before.
세상에.
This day in history, 1977, the night the son of Sam was arrested. Also, Louis XVI of France was in prison. Let's see what else. 2008, singer Isaac Hayes died at age 63. He's also the voice of Chef, if you don't know, of South Park. I don't know how they kept it on now. I guess before, I don't even know how they did with AI. Before AI, I mean, Chef was his voice. The chef was Isaac Hayes. 1993, American jurist Darth Vader Ginsburg was sworn in as Associate Justice of SCOTUS. 1970, Jim Morrison, leader of the Doors, went on trial in Florida, charged with various crimes. 1950, Sunset Boulevard, considered Hollywood's greatest films, had its world premiere. 1793, the Louvre opened in Paris, and later became the most visited museum in the world. Louvre. 1729, William Howe, 5th Viscount Howe, Commander-in-Chief of the British Army in North America in 1776-1778, failed to destroy the Continental Army and stemmed from the American War for Independence, was born. He got sucked in Scientology, if I'm not mistaken. Who, Innes did? I did not know. Who got in Scientology? I had no idea which one. Wouldn't be shocked. They get a lot of money, guys. Anyways, it's been a long night. Have a great rest of the night. Have a good tomorrow. Good morning, good evening, good night. Thank you. Hit like, subscribe, all that. Oh, Isaac Hayes. Okay, good call. I didn't know. Maybe I didn't know. I don't know. But yeah, Chef. Hello, children. Chef. Hey, Chef. In South Park, he was the chef. Anyways, like, subscribe, hit that stuff in the show notes, comment, whatever. Have a great rest of the night. See you on Wednesday for Hump Day, and God love you.